Live from Music City, Nashville, Tennessee. This is your motivational, sensational, inspirational, educational, aspirational, international, keenly awaited, daily created, highly anticipated edition of the afternoon swing trading floor with your humble host, Jeremy Alexander Newsom, with another daily dose of mentally delicious brain food, reminding you to love life, live life, and trade it. What's going on, folks, friends, fans, family from around the entire world? I trust you are all equally doing serendipitously, stupendously splendid. Yeah! Nailed the intro. All right. Let me see who's all in the building. And again, if you're ever watching this recording, I'm not looking exactly at it. That's because I'm, got all this over here going on. So that's pretty much why. Where did you guys go? Let me open up that account. There it is. All right, let me get my screen sharing turned on. So my screen sharing's turned on. Beautiful. And who's all in the building today? We got Alan Steakums here. Hey, bud. Adrian Hernandez, welcome. Albert Baiju, the Sergeant. Barry is here. Bill, Banal, Bob Smith, David Johnson, David Schwartz, DJ Klein, Francois, Graham, Hungile, Jack, Joannis, John, JP, Kelvin, Kevin, Leonard, Malcolm, Mark, Neil, OJ, Pat, Pedro, Peter, Raj, Samantha, Scott, Stephen, Thomas, Valerie, Victor, Vinny, Walt, Zochi, and Yates. What's going on? Hashtag Team Squad fam. Okay. We got ourselves a delicious day. I think you should be able to see my screen. This is the SPY screen, right? All right, fantastic. Today was a very good day out there. Yes, today was a great day out there in the market. And just want to say, since he's here, thank you, Neil. So Neil is, him and I were chatting together. My boy lives over there in the UK, and he is officially one of the most recent coaching students. He reached out to me for some coaching, so him and I will be working together. So stay tuned for the name Neil a lot. Over there in the UK, we're gonna be working together for the next 3 months, and there's only two ways out. Either he quits or he makes money. But he's gonna be making money. He's a really cool dude. Very pumped about that. And yeah, we're gonna get rocking and rolling. Let's see what else is happening out there. Anything else going on? There he is. Neil says, hey there. Hey, man. Pleasure to have you here, brother. And Samantha says hello. Okay, let's dive in. And what we're going to talk about today is obviously a few things. So we will be discussing a little bit of futures trades that we played last night and what we're going to look at for today. We're going to talk about the broader markets. We're going to talk about stocks. We're going to talk about options. We're going to talk about some gaps. We're going to talk about earnings, some trade setups. It's going to be an overall splendid opportunity to make some future profits together. So on the board right now is the SPY. And the SPY came down to a nice little lower shadow, a little bit of a 10 EMA, and is potentially bouncing, right? We'll see. We'll see how long it holds. The good news is the analysis from yesterday, a lot of traders and some people were hoping to get in bullish yesterday. Like they wanted to buy right away. And my analysis was, look, if you want to do that, at least buy the pullback, right? That was the analysis we talked about yesterday. Don't buy just right away because we're at all-time highs, and this is the highest it's ever been. So if you want to get in, at least snag the pullback. So that's what some traders were doing. So anyway, good-looking trend overall on SPY. We'll see if we continue. The weekly chart looks beautiful. Now, is today really Thursday? Can you guys verify that for me? Is it actually Thursday today? Because if that's so, that means tomorrow is Friday. That means it's the last day of the week. We're going to end with a pretty strong bearish candle last week, a little bit of an inside candle this week most likely. And then again, if we make any kind of higher highs or higher lows, we're just going to slowly keep creeping higher. Trend for all intents and purposes right now looks really nice. And bull is strong. So here's the E-minis. Here's what we're going to be looking at tonight in the futures chats. and took some really good trades on the E-minis the last 2 or 3 days. This was a great pullback opportunity, and this was a late in the day trade that we snagged right before market close. And I want to explain what I was looking at when I took it, because I feel like that might be helpful just for anyone who does trade. And again, this doesn't matter what the chart is. It could be futures, it could be crypto, it could be stocks. This is kind of how I trade all the time anyway. So what I was looking at, and I'll kind of give you my breakdown, was here's chart number 1. This was 1:35, so about 3 hours ago. And what I was looking at on the images right here was a really, really good accumulation pattern. And again, this doesn't matter what the chart is. If you're like, I don't trade futures, don't worry. Like, you can use this analysis for anything, right? This works with everything. Really, really good base down here. And look at this volume. Tons of volume down here and tons of volume right here. So that tells me that there is some people interested in these levels. So my thought process was, all right, what's the support resistance? So here's a little bit of a support, and here's a little bit of a support based on the volume. And initially, as it was pulling back, I was thinking, okay, if it pops above, I'll look to go long. And then I said to myself, you know what? Look at this perfect tweezer bottom. Perfect tweezer bottom. Now, I don't know about you, but with my futures experience, the futures love to trap people. They love trading to where a bunch of stops are at and then bouncing. It's like the favorite thing in the world for futures to do. So the E-minis, once it started breaking the stop of 306, I said, okay, let me just buy right down there. Flat, blind, get in, get out. That was it. And that was kind of my plan. And I did do that on a scalp that I didn't post. So I don't post every trade that I take. So I did do a little bit of a scalpy scalp down there for a quick, I think, 2-3 ticks right here. So I put an entry right below that tweezer with a stop like right here, and got out somewhere on this candle for, like I said, 2-3 ticks of a small little gain. And then I set up another trade that was the bigger one that went like this. So this was the bigger one, where I was like, okay, volume is coming in, right? Really good volume right below that tweezer bottom. We have a hammer candle. We got this really good candle. If we come back down and bounce, maybe we run from here because it looks like it's bullish. That didn't happen. Okay, this is the trade I got stopped out on. This was a 2-point stop. So with one contract, 2 points, $100 on this particular trade. And as it broke down, once it broke down and hit my stop, I was like, man, I really think it's going to bounce. Let me try it one more time. Maybe it bounces, maybe it doesn't. But that's when I zoomed in on this time frame. This was a 3-minute chart. I recognized we were having a tweezer pattern, and it was like a double trap. So everyone who bought there was trapped, and everyone who bought there was trapped. And truly, I just said, let me just try it one more time. If I get stopped out, no big deal. 1 point of risk. Right, that was it. Just 1 point, $50. I've been $150 total for the futures of that particular loss. And then we just trade right back down, build, and then ran up to the exit of 306.50. That was the target. So that was a beautiful, beautiful trade as far as risk reward goes. And here's the stop move. So again, I'm just showing you all this because I do update. We do talk a lot about trades. This is kind of how I post my charts. Like I try to be as descriptive as I can. Avoid Kelvin's a nice trade dude. And anyway, good risk reward, good buy low, good sell high. So with the E-minis tonight, I'll be looking at something very, very similar. I'm keeping an eye on this area for a long. So this whole area right here, like this really, really big support resistance, 308.25, and I'll be keeping an eye out for something like this or something like this. I'll be looking to go along around 7 p.m. So about 3 hours from now. depending on what it does, and I'm looking at going bullish. Doesn't mean it's going to work, but that's just what I'm looking at on the E-minis. Okay, so there's that. And someone did ask if there will ever be a futures room just specifically at RLT, and the answer is yes, at some point. Absolutely, there'll be just an exclusive futures trading room. But you know, futures go on a lot. So does Forex. So Forex futures and cryptos are like 24 hours. So at some point, I heard humanly we have to sleep. I don't know who told me that, but you know, if you're human, you gotta sleep. That's what someone said. Other markets, let's go look at the Qs. And here's the Qs. The Qs, Marbozu candle for the most part yesterday on the Qs. A little bit of a pullback. And again, we'll see how this gaps with Amazon down, but Google up. It looks like the Qs is trying to gap up a little bit tomorrow. So we will find out. I'm very bullish on Google long term. I think you guys all know that. But with Google, you know, pulling up the Qs, we'll see where we open, of course. All right, we'll see how this moves. But just looking at it, pre-market, post-market, we got a little bit of a pattern like this. So if we do start moving and really cranking tomorrow could be a very, very bullish day again. So be prepared for that. Get ready. Here's the IWM. And I almost did a weekly options newsletter trade on the IWM, but I thought that this exact thing would happen. I was very, very close to getting a trigger here with a stop there and a target here. I just didn't know if it would hit it that quickly. You might remember, if you remember the Tuesday, you go back to Tuesday afternoon review, I was like, I love this candle. One white soldier candle, nice little hammer, might be a weekly options newsletter candidate. I considered it, I really did, but I also knew that a lot of traders might not know what stop limits are, how they work. That would have been a very, very quick options trade on the IWM Russell 2000. But right now, realistically, it's sideways for the most part. I mean, you know, very sideways. Short to intermediate, and obviously long term is bullish. And that's all I have on the broader markets. The Dow Jones, they were just down very slightly today, but realistically, it again looks like a big, big resistance up here. To me, it seems like we're gonna have, you know, a bigger retest at some point, but I don't know technically why we won't go higher in the markets. So I do highly anticipate that we're gonna keep just slowly grinding. And this is the monthly chart. I mean, the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, we have traded sideways, and we did have a 10% redip. Over 10%. So if you're telling me that we can't go higher because we trade sideways for 2 years, have a little bit of a dip, and then press up, all I can say is, I don't know about that. This is what I'm looking at right here. This is what we got. Now, for some of you, if you subscribe to me on YouTube or watch me any other place out there in the world, I have mentioned recently, and I agree with our boy Warren Buffett, who also mentioned something like this similar. But right now, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is at 27,000. You guys realize that the Dow Jones Industrial Average was at 8,000 in 2003. Okay, that was 16 years ago. So 16 years ago, 8,000. So it's pretty much gone up 3x in 16 years. And of course, it's done it since 2009 as well, but I'm just going out really, really far. So if we do another 16 years, it'd be safe to assume that we're probably going to 3x again. Okay, which means that in under, I would argue, 20 to 25 years, the Dow Jones is going to be at 100,000. Type in a 1 if you think I'm crazy. Type in a 2 if you think it is likely. I mean, you might not think so. It's like it just doesn't seem that possible, but math would say that it's going to be doable. The companies are going to keep growing. They're going to keep getting bigger. They're going to keep getting larger. Inflation, money, currencies, all of that things. Right? Robots controlling the world, whatever. It's possible, right? Just robots are trading. Cool. I will be the Terminator then. So it'll be large, right? It'll be large. It's gonna, I think, just keep slowly grinding higher, right? So we'll see. Alice says Amazon alone will be 100,000. Well, it very well could, but between now and then, it'll definitely have a split, I would assume. Yeah, I'll definitely have a split. But anyway, all right, just big picture stuff. Cool, no one cares. Let's dive in. First stock on the list is LK. And the reason I'm pulling up LK is because this was a pretty decent little swing trade. And this is one of those things I hate to love and love to hate. LK, we had a target on LK at 24.58. That was the new target, and I missed that target by an entire 14 pennies. Oh, brute magoot. And I increased the stop to make sure we didn't give a lot of it back, put the stop at 23.08. And I think that I'm okay to get trailed out. So we got trailed out on LK for at least 1.68 Rs. Some people made 2 Rs on it because they sold right around here. I was trying to hold for just a little bit more, and I got real close. So sometimes when you play a game of inches, you lose by a few inches, and that's an additional, $500 right there. That little space right there. It's an additional $500. But whatever, it's all good. Happens. I promise it's going to happen many, many more times in your careers. So LK is trendy. Breaking out of this triangle, keep your nose to the grindstone, if that's the phrase. So what I'm going to do is put LK on the list for tomorrow morning just to see what it does. Because right now, if it gaps up and continues higher, it can easily keep going. So Friday morning, ticker symbol LK. LK on the list, and just to watch it, it's trendy. The trend is bullish, unquestionably, intermediately, I guess. Buy dips, stay long on LK, and figure out ways to capture some gains from this really nice trend. All right, so that is that one. Add 2 or 3 on here, sure. VMWs. I had some people ask about VMW. VMware. So far, it's pretty much doing our wave structure. Now, that does not mean that it's going to go higher, but if you're looking at playing VMW, I would have 2 setups. And here's setup number 1. So setup number 1 is if it takes out the high of this candle, it's a shave top, perfect shave top candle. So that would be a bullish entry with a stop loss down here. And that's if it pops higher. Most likely, per Mr. Squiggles, it's going to go a little bit lower. And trade number 2 would be snagging it right there. If it does break, if it takes out those lows, try to catch it down here with a stop right about here on VMW. So this will be the second trade setup, just trying to snag an S curve on the main move, right? So this is the move. So if it S curves, maybe trying to pick that low. That's a purely arbitrary line, ladies and gentlemen, just a general price of, I think if it took out the low of this candle, took out the low of this candle, took out the low of this candle, it'd probably go a little bit lower and maybe bounce, right? If you put it down to 200, that could also be a bounce spot. If you want to break it up and do half an R and half an R, you can do half an R at 170.127 and another half an R at 167.90. That could be a spot that you pick some up and then play the bounce. But that's my thoughts on BMW. Adam says there's a support line at the 165-ish area. Yep, absolutely. Very good support on VM at 165-ish. Totally. A lot of resistance over here. If I go to the weekly chart, you can see that real clearly. Look at this line chart. Yeah, so if you're doing a little bit of a line, 165-ish, absolutely. All right. Next on the list is Carnival Cruise Lines, CCL, and Carnival Cruise Lines. Okay, so I drew these two lines to simulate a breakout or a pullback. I would prefer the pullback, but if it does break out, and especially if it were to gap up tomorrow above the highs, I don't anticipate that happening. This is a massive stop, by the way. So I'm going to do a little bit of a different trade in just a second. If you're playing the breakout, there's a lot to talk about on Carnival, but bottom line, here's what I got. If you're playing it down here, I would personally do it with shares and options, or very, very quickly. So that'd be my preferred longer term level on Carnival, right? This is a dividend paying stock. If you adjust the chart for dividends, it looks a little bit like this. So you're making higher highs and higher lows. If you like cruises, I mean, who doesn't like cruises? Booze and food. Buy low, sell high. Carnival could be something you rather own rather than just be a consumer in. And this could be one you start loading up some shares down here anyway. And it does usually bounce around this time frame. So that's how I would personally play it on Carnival. Very short term, another shorter term trade on Carnival would be a pullback down into 45.66. 45.66 right here, and your stop loss will be pretty much right about there. John says, can you please quickly explain bullish stop limit entry? As a broker order, my good friend, stop limits help you get in at a very specific price. And John, what I'll do is I'll send you, as you guessed it, an article. All right. Let's go to stop limits. Here you go. What is a stop limit order? Check that out, man. Crazy as it sounds, but very few programs ever talk about broker orders because they always use market. Market orders are dumb because that means you have to be at the market to trigger it, or market on close, limit on close, I guess aren't technically that bad, but I love limits, man. A good limit order, you can set up a trade and walk away forever and let it do its thing, and don't even have to be by the computer. All right, PAYS, pay sign. Pay sign is interesting, my friends. Look at that parabolic move on pay sign. Whoo, man, alligator shoes. Think about the guy who bought there at 18 and some change. It's gonna go to 20. Bloop. That was me 10 years ago. That's exactly where both Vinny Patel and myself would have bought all of the call options. Every one that we had, that's where we would have bought, Vinny, 10 years ago. But now at least we're a little bit smarter. And it looks like a retest gap. I would personally expect this probably to come down a little bit longer. Moves like this generally trade down, trade up, trade out, trade down, and then kind of double top. They make a bigger lower high to some degree. That's almost exactly what pay sign's going to do, I think, in my opinion. A little bit of a lower low. This is where all the super zealous bears hop on for a profit, but they don't realize that it just was at 18 and it went to 12, 50% retracement almost. So they'll get some buyers to come in, and then people realize it needs to retrace. And what's this going to do is it's going to create a big distribution phase. Distribution phase will probably last, the rest of the year. Something like this, right? February to May, where it trades sideways for a while and then kind of continues. Definitely some money to be made on it if you want to trade it actively. That gap the other day was sick. But from here, pay signs, if you're looking at playing it, that's how I would. So what I will do is I'll just say my thoughts on PAYS from here Just a guess, but it's going to be very close to this price action. Bow, 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 bow. Let's throw on some chart patterns. Let's say PAYS. By the way, I hope everyone follows me on TradingView. Tomorrow, I'll be sporting a new charting software. Full disclosure, did have a charting software reach out to me and offer to work with Real Life Trading and do some sponsorship deals and help enrich lives. I've asked TradingView to work with Real Life Trading like 100 different times, and apparently they don't care about making more money. So going to work with someone else, and it's actually a quite good charting software. I'm learning it, using it, practicing with it last few, like 3 or 4 weeks. And for some of you, you might recall that there is a trading retreat, a live trading experience here in Nashville, Tennessee on Labor Day week. I know you guys already know about that, but that's going to be on September 1st through September 5th. And one of the representatives from that charting software will be there just to trade with us, trade alongside us, and show us all how the product works. But 9/1 through 9/5 here in Nashville, Tennessee. We got about 5 spots left. So if you're coming, you better start signing up ASAP. And yep, that's pretty much about it. Okay, pay signs, got it, cool. Mike says, how soon can we get the charting software? I mean, now. I mean, it works right now. I mean, we're using it. It's out and available. Mike says, my TradingView renews in 12 days. Interesting. Well, I mean, it's not a secret. Like, they've been around for a while. Trend Spider. It actually is pretty nifty. I do like a lot of its uses. I can see why there'd be benefits. I can see why there would not be benefits. I'm getting better with it, but it is kind of cool. And I will just let everyone know that Real Life Trading will benefit from you guys using Trend Spider. So I'll throw that chart in the chat pane. Peter says, I live in East Nashville. Bro, no way. No way do you live in East Nashville. Because if you live in East Nashville, we would have already hung out already. Because you know that I've been in Nashville for like 5 years. And the answer is yes. There is a link. Email my assistant, if you don't mind, Ashley at reallifetrade.com. She'll send you a link, give you all the info. But bottom line, it'll be $395 for you to come. So for those people who live in Nashville, and there's a lot of traders in Nashville, you should also email me anyway, Peter, so I can get your phone number so that you can come to the pool party, because we got a pool party coming up. We just had one like 3 weeks ago for a bunch of traders in Nashville. Man, we hang out in Nashville all the time. Team Nashville is the strongest team in the world for trading. We got Team Denver for Blake. We got Team Indianapolis with Brad. We got Team LA is strong. So yeah, man, hit me up. Let's connect. East Nashville. What a great place. All right, so WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment. WWE, let's pull this bad boy up. And this did have an interesting gap today. So these are pre-drawn trends on Trend Spider at the present moment in time. Don't have to do a lot of work to get those created, which is nice. And what we're looking at right here is this long-term trend. Obviously, we're bouncing off support, and this other trend, we're using it as a support resistance tool at the present moment in time. So my overall thought process on this guy is, as it relates to where we're at, we're probably going to retest to some degree, like that, and bounce. We were in a WWE World Wrestling Entertainment trade not too long ago, and I got out for a small loss. Kyle Williams has a put sale at 60, and the long-term trend on this one is bullish. With this particular candle, you know what? I should probably put WWE on the list for tomorrow to see if I fade it. That looks a little fadeable to me. Fadeable meaning shorted. WWE short, question mark? Because we go to the 5-minute chart. It's a very nice retest gap. Yeah, if it starts breaking down some of this support, I think we could fade that. Let me pop in here to a 5-minute time frame. See what kind of trends we have drawn on this little guy. And again, you don't have to have these trends on. You can have them off, but they can be useful. Yeah, so I mean, just a nice little break of this support. We'll see what we do on it, but I can dig it. WWE, good job, Kyle Williams, for having some put sales on that one. Boeing, ticker symbol BA. So Boeing had a nice gap down today. I did not trade this one, but it is coming into a long-term trend. This is coming into a weekly support. So this is the daily chart on Boeing. Daily chart on Boeing, we have this decent gap down. And what was interesting about this gap is you had a lot of resistance and support in the way. So there's tons of support right here. And if you squint your eyes and blend these candles, that's actually a really massive evening star reversal pattern. Candle blending is not something I've talked about too much, but I do need to have a video on that at some point in time. Candle blending is pretty cool. And you know, this would be an indecision candle, that would be an indecision candle, that'd be just a nice little bearish candle. So nice evening star reversal, great gap down, and yeah, this bad boy just dominated lower. So we go into the 5-minute chart, 5-minute time frame on Boeing. Opened and pretty much ran. You had one or two really good instances to snag a solid win on Boeing. I mean, it was a retest gap on the daily chart. Here was retest number 1 in the blue, and here was retest number 2. Boom, boom, boom. Just a really, really classic retest. Gorgeous pattern, super saucy, and all kinds of delicious. Now from here, my thoughts on Boeing on the daily time frame. Daily time frame, what we have is a little bit of a double top looking thing trying to form. And my plan on Boeing is probably a retest. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 bearish candles in a row. So most likely a snapback or roll down to about 320-ish. And that's probably where we're going to start bouncing. That's also a weekly moving average. I really do actually like the TrendSpider platform for this because you can turn multi-time frame analysis on really, really easily. And it'll pull up all your longer term stuff on a weekly chart or whatever time frame you want. So whatever moving average you want to use, like any type of trends or anything, it's really, really easy to switch between your multi-time frame analysis. But these little dash lines, we're below all of them on a weekly chart and a monthly time frame. Monthly chart, I think right here. So there's some support resistance on the monthly chart right about there. So I think 338 is almost a no-brainer on Boeing, but most likely we get into the 320 spot and then bounce because this is a little bit of a double top to some degree on some standpoint. Okay. Next on the list is AT&T. And AT&T, I did not type that incorrect. Try again, Newsom. It's just 1 T. Good job, you're doing really good. Learning how to type. All right, so AT&T, what's really interesting about AT&T is it had a really, really pretty gap yesterday. I mean, this was splendid. Such a pretty gap on this one. And look at this candle right here. Bunch of bearish candles in a row. Boom, 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 boom. Hammer. And then it gapped above that hammer candle, which was a bearish candle, and it gapped above that candle. Really, really nice. I mean, I love that. I think it's really, really pretty. And it just ran fast. It was a nice run. So here's the hourly time frame and the hourly time frame on AT&T, right? We got just a nice little move. So I know AT&T is pretty much a blue chip, buy low, sell high, and hold until it does something good, which is, you know, pretty accurate, more or less. What candlestick patterns do I have turned on? Let's do some candlesticks. I'll show off some cool stuff on this. This is pretty dope. Let's see. Let's do a good high wave candle. My high waves. See if you can track any down. Did I select it right? Candle patterns. I don't know if I did or not. Oh, I forgot to click apply. I was like, I know there's some high waves on this chart. High wave, apply. Boom. So this immediately shows you kind of like any kind of high wave candles, or again, you can use all of your all kinds of different candle patterns. It shows them to you immediately. Trust me, there's certainly some cool implications on this. So this is the weekly chart that we're looking at right now. Weekly chart, you kind of have like this inverted head and shoulders pattern type of thing shaping up, and very, very big bullish candle. Michael says T-Mobile are having to sell some assets to satisfy the Sprint merger. Dish Network, prospective buyer of those assets. Gotcha. I mean, what's interesting is if we go to a monthly chart on this beast, so here's the monthly time frame, what you actually will notice is big trends, massive lower highs, but we're really going quite sideways on AT&T. And big picture, I mean, you know, again, it's kind of like a buy low, sell high type of perspective, but there's not really too much else to talk about on AT&T. It had a beautiful run. I wouldn't be buying it exactly where it is right now. I would like to buy some type of dip, but it had a really good move, and it's kind of nice. Claude says the teardrop thingy is cool too. Just joined the meeting. I don't know if you talked about that. Yes, you are absolutely correct. The teardrop thing is pretty nifty. Oops, it's not HAIL. What's that supposed to be? Oh, how, just how. Halliburton, HAL. So Halliburton does not look like it's going to break higher, which is fine. At least it doesn't look like it's going to break higher yet. So we were talking about this one, and if it does rotate into this support, I could be a buyer down here. I'm still not afraid to get in long on a breakout. I just don't think it's going to break out. We will see. But what Halliburton would make the most sense to me is something like this. Bloop. So Halliburton, no trade yet. But what I will do on Halliburton is I will pop over here and put this on the list for next Wednesday, which is Energy Wednesday. And we'll see if we play anything with Halliburton on a pullback or a breakout. Michael said, did you guys know on the PC you can move Jeremy's cam around on the screen? Yeah, you should be. It should be kind of clicking, point and click on Zoom. You're absolutely right. You should have the ability to kind of click me and drag me anywhere you want on that. Boss. Okay. Next on the list, SailPoint Technology, SAIL. SailPoint. Was talking about this one yesterday to say, hey, maybe we get a little bit of a pullback. We talked about this wanting to trigger today, and this did not trigger today, which is fine. But earnings are not very long away from here on SailPoint, and this was really probably the only pullback we're going to get on it. And we're already up a little bit post-market. Yep. So bottom line, I will put SailPoint Technology on my day trading list tomorrow, but I don't think we're going to get a chance to catch it on a swing trade. So SAIL long. And here's what the weekly chart looks like. The weekly chart on SailPoint, big support resistance right here. I mean, this is a really, really crafty little level for it to pull back into. And be pretty interested to see what this stock does on kind of the longer term scale. All right, it is, after all, Transportation Thursday. So here is Spirit Airlines. And what I'm gonna do on Spirit is show you one of the most gorgeous trades I've ever seen in my life. I did not trade Spirit, and at this particular point in time, I'm not totally sure why, and that's fine. But look at this bullish gap and go and this gap action. What a trap. Oh my goodness. Leonard says it hurts that I got out early. It should. Man, I hope you cried grown men tears on that one today. I mean, that gap is what dreams are made out of on Spirit Airlines. Who wants me to play the, anybody want me to play a sound bite? Let's see, let me throw this one on. What's a good one? Here we go.
I'm a classic cat. Look at me, no candles on the screen. I'm a classic cat.
You gotta watch out for me in the club, folks. You gotta watch out. So Spirit Airlines gapping down. Look at this 5-minute chart. This 5-minute chart was so good. So good. And I did see this as it was cracking. I was like, oh, it's not going to pull back. I'm just going to miss this. So you had the breakdown. Boom, 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 boom. Really nice breakdown, volume, all that good stuff. Trades trades back up to the 0.618 or whatever fib level you're using or not using. Doesn't really matter. It's a great pullback. If I put on moving averages or anything, you're going to be able to see the moving averages. So I'll put the moving averages on. This is the extended hours, right? Pulls right into the 10 and the 20. We turn the extended hours off, just right into the 10. I mean, like a pro, right into the 10 EMA. And then you had enough time to go to a birthday party, bake a cake, give out presents, and come back and still take that trade. Entry there, stop up there somewhere above those moving averages, and just free fell all day long. Beautiful move. We did have a trader or two attempt to take a bullish trade right there, and once it didn't break the 20, right at that point it was down like 18%. Once it did not break above the 20, that was it. All right, just kept on going. So you're talking about perfect bearish gap and go, and that's what that looks like. That is a classic gap. Earnings, bearish gap and go, 101, trapping everybody. So now what's going to happen on Spirit Airlines? I mean, I don't know for sure, but my thought process is if you're playing Spirit, you're probably going to want to buy it all the way the heck down here if it gets down there. $33.72. I don't know if it gets back down there, but if it does, that's probably where you're going to look to buying it. Now, on the flip side, Southwest Airlines, we'd love to have you. Best airline company on the planet, and gorgeous trends, looks beautiful. Monthly chart looking fresh. Weekly chart closing above that bearish candle. Long-term moving averages, right in the middle on the weekly chart. And here's the daily chart. And the daily chart, this was a really nice gap. Now, this also was a gap and go, but it did not go. Right? There's just no go. Here's the 3-minute chart on Southwest Airlines. Very first candle, out the gate was bearish, and that was it. If you turned on pre-market, you know that we were already a little bit lower. So that we had some pre-market lows, we had some pre-market support. So there was no bullish candle that broke down for you to take this trade. I don't see. Very first bearish candle, and you got this massive bullish candle. So like you're gonna go short, it's like, okay, I'll go below there. Then this candle comes in, but now the risk reward's not that great. Then this candle comes in, again, the risk reward's not that great. And then once this candle comes in, closes above, and you got multiple traps. So you can see like 2 bear traps on this one. You got this is a lower shadow, someone definitely shorted right there. And you have that lower shadow, someone definitely shorted right there. So once that candle comes in, full bull. And I had about 3 people ask me today in the trading room how they should trade Southwest, and my answer was bullish by the dip, trend is bullish on the intraday chart and long-term chart. Daily chart looks good. Southwest, multiple white candles in a row, and slightly bullish from here on Southwest. Most likely, we'll get one of these numbers, and keep your eyes on Southwest to go higher. If you're a pilot there or an employee or you fly them, probably want to own some shares and be in something bullish long term. I had someone request Enbridge, ENB. Wow, Enbridge took a dump today. 5 bearish candles in a row. Weekly chart looking rough. Look at this weekly chart, man. So talking about a massive, massive, massive company. Lower highs, lower lows, closing below the support. I mean, energy is showing some weakness. We've talked about that over the last few days. In the daily chart, you just have a bunch of bear candles. I probably wouldn't short it yet, but if you want to short it, probably some kind of pullback and then short. Keep in mind, earnings is around the corner. I don't know if anything specific happens on this, but that is a bearish volume candle pattern. I mean, this brand new low, dividend paying, huge blue chip company could be a dip buying opportunity in the next 2 or 3 days. But overall, with earnings around the corner, again, I do not expect this one to go to 0. Just have to determine how low you want to get in and how long you want to hold, right? If you're buying this thing, that's the question you have to answer is how long do I want to hold and how low do I want to get in and with what size? Because it's going to be down to sideways to choppy for a bit. All right, Cron. Not a whole lot to talk about on Cron, but I know my girl Joannis, I think, made a small gain on CRON today. Cron trading sideways, and I opted to not do this trade officially. I was thinking about it, and it very, very well could be a nice swing trade, but I just think I'm trying to pick it a perfect bottom on Cron, and I don't think it's ready. It could be, and I could just end up missing the trade, and that's fine. But if you were looking at playing CRON, you got to notate that's a beautiful double bottom, really nice retest, and I'd love to see some type of bounce or something like that on CRON. The weekly chart, however, you just have a perfect high wave doji. Perfect high wave doji, which shows just a lot of indecision. And on the hourly chart, we're pretty sideways right now. Here's the extended hours turned off. Let me turn this guy off. So we're just a little sideways, but it is getting ready for something. Right, there's the double bottom, and there's the pullback to the neckline of the double bottoms. This is a very cute pattern. So if we gap down and break this down tomorrow, we're probably going to go to 1440, maybe even 14. And if you're looking at really buying some dips, 1440 to $14 would be the area of which I would look to buy that dip on Cron. Okay, United Technologies. So UTX, you might recall, we were talking about this one yesterday, and we were like, okay, I love this gap. Be watching it for a bullish trade. We'll see if it pulls back, but it probably won't. And we might end up missing this one, but I'm just going to keep an eye on it to see if we can snag a pullback. A little bit of a pricey stock. It is. It's a touch on the pricey side. But I would really like to buy as low as possible, and the trend is very strong. Love the gap, love the retest. I'm in if it pulls back. So United Technologies, oops, I'll forget to publish that one, free week. UTX swing trade. Nice gaps the last few days. My buddy Fred A, I believe, is in some bull put spreads as well. Okay, long, boom, 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 UTX, $3 of risk, bang, bang, bang. Peter says, my buddy bought CRBP. I told him to wait for 575, but he already bought it. What do you think? Gonna put that on the list for tomorrow, my good friend. And that way, have your buddy tune in and he can watch the analysis together. All right. So UTX, swing trade on UTX, and 7/25/2019 UTX looking at a pullback to 134.01, maybe 131.01. And you could do it with options, but they're not great. I've already looked. This was very close to being a weekly options newsletter, but the options were just awful. And the bid-ask spread, everything was pretty bad. So UTX, we'll see if she pulls back, and I'll leave this one open. I'll leave open for at least a week. I mean, trend looks good. And we'll just see if we get a pullback into some support or not. All right. Tally ho. Should I also throw this in here? New official swing trade. Okay. UTX, got it, good. Next on the list is JetBlue, ticker symbol JBLU. And JetBlue Airlines, another transportation stock. This is the monthly chart. And the monthly chart, you have a really good looking trend. And I think some people could argue some kind of wave count, 1, 2, 3, probably a big wave 4 and potentially a wave 5 at some point. The argument could be made, I guess. So if we hop in here from a monthly chart now just to a weekly time frame, on JetBlue, you do have a series of high wave candles as outlined by the program. And you also have a pretty decent double bottom. So the double bottom, you got to close, and we are coiling. So there's the double bottom right there. There's the close above the neckline there. There's the retest. We had a high wave candle last week. We're working on closing above the high wave candle last week. JetBlue could be ready to make a pop out of there. Doesn't mean that it will, but we'll see. You know, a close above 1986, and then it probably will retest. Because again, this is a weekly chart, right? So if it breaks out, retests, and gives you an opportunity to go long, that could be a possibility on JetBlue. Next on the list is JD.com. Hi, my name's JD with JD.com. I do like this high wave candle on JD. This is a weekly chart, and we are closing above there the last 2 or 3 weeks, which is a big deal. Anyone who's shorted from that high wave candle right there are still some people in short. So we're holding that resistance. You know, got some type of pattern like this. Even if it's an ABC, I think it easily comes back up to 36. So I like JD right now. I think JD is a nice little bullish trend. This is the fourth, I believe, still the fourth biggest e-commerce platform in the world. And you have a kind of a little bit of a double bottom-esque pattern up here. And we'll see if we can pull back down to like 30 and then bounce. Samuel says, how would you recommend trading if we were not using margin based on how we pick an R value? I don't understand that question, my good friend. If we were in the same room, I'm sure I would understand, but I don't know what you mean. If you can retype that one for me, I'll be happy to answer it. Yeah, just rethrow that one in there, and I got you. So yeah, JD, buy the dip. Nice looking trends. Looking at that one for a bullish day trade the other day. And again, the weekly chart looks good. You're above all averages. Keep your eyes on JD, folks. Don't get caught sleeping on that one. Okay, now to the big boys. Amazon. AMZN, Amazon, is down small. Down small right now. Earnings were stupid good, in my opinion. Making dumb money. And we'll just kind of see what happens. I mean, there's a lot of volatility pre-market. This is going to be a tough one to trade tomorrow. A lot of option sellers are going to lose. Option buyers are going to lose tomorrow. Sorry, option sellers will be just fine. And I did buy a debit spread on Amazon just in case it gapped out. But the fact is, with this flat open, I like it. I mean, if it pulls back tomorrow, buyable at any point in time. If it breaks out, buyable. Earnings were phenomenal. I'll be looking for some credit spreads tomorrow on Amazon, expiring if I can get some good premium, because we are down a little bit, but I plan on this gap filling. And what I will do more than likely is be buying some out of the money calls on Amazon for September, October, some 2100s or something, because when we break this resistance, it's just going to run. I don't know if it happens, but I think I could have a good risk on it. And yeah, so we'll kind of see what happens on Amazon. Very good earnings, but tomorrow will be a little bit more on the choppy side, looking to go long as low as possible. Peter says, I think Samuel means if you had a margin account and you put in 5,000 and they gave you 20,000 margin, would you risk 1%? Or would you risk 1 or 2% of the 20,000 or 5,000? Valid question. So I would risk 2% of the 5,000, which would be $100 in that scenario. And I would be able to take 2 or 3, maybe even 4 swing trades at once until the $20,000 is totally soaked up. So I don't base my R's off of margin. I base my R's off of the actual cash account size. And then I use the margin if available or if needed to take the trades in addition to whatever my buying power is if I run out or something like that. So great question. And if that's the question that you needed to answer, Samuel, beautiful stuff. And Peter, thank you, man, for asking. Because yeah, that makes sense. It's a very valid question. And yeah, that's how I would do it personally. I mean, again, I base it off of the balance, the actual value, and margin is like, hey, money that you can use to buy stuff. It still has risk available. So it's all about your risk and your controlling of that risk. So Amazon, pretty bullish for tomorrow is my perspective. Watch it to go bull. And then Google, full bull on Google. Full on. I'm about to win my wager, ladies and gentlemen, because I mentioned that this gap, Google would get back up into this gap and fill this gap before the end of September. Otherwise, if it didn't, I had to grow out my beard and my hair for 3 full months, I think was the thing, October, November, December. So I'd have to look like an absolute hippie. This is a phenomenal gap on Google, up 10%, strong gap. And 7 to 1, if you've heard me say before, if you're bullish on the internet, you're bullish on Google. I mean, you don't have to have a lot of shares or bull put spreads. You should have something in Google at some point in time if you get the opportunity to do so. If you don't, it's fine, no big deal. But when you look to trade it, just know that longer term bullish makes the most sense. And then from there, do your analysis, right? Short term, you can definitely make some money bearish on Google, right? Why not? But this is going to be an incredibly strong bullish gap tomorrow. Do not go bearish on Google at any point in time tomorrow. My thought process, and I will just be looking for an S curve, and I will buy it, and it might go to 1270 tomorrow. Google, full bull, great gap. All right, Intel, INTC. Intel is gapping up. Oh, that's a great gap on Intel. 54.73. Now this one might fade a little bit, and it'll be a little on the choppy side, but it's what I would think is a pretty good gap. So here's a resistance. We're gapping above this resistance. And let me give my buddy Gus some love because I know Gustavo. Happy to see your Intel moving. My buddy Gustavo got put some shares a while ago at a nice low level and was very happy about that because getting put shares on the stock that you want to own at a low price is good. I think its cost basis is 45 and some change. And yeah, awesome stuff. I mean, we all knew Intel would bounce, right? Or at least we talked about that almost nonstop down here in the trading room back in May. So yeah, this is the most obvious buy low, sell high location of all time, forever and ever and ever on anything. And it's not an expensive stock, right? 44, buy 1,000 shares at 44 and you sell them at 54. I don't know about you guys, but that's 10 grand. All day, every day. That's how that math works, and it works with any amount of shares. 100 shares, 200 shares, 1 share, 1,000 shares. That is just simple math. Buy low, sell high. Great gap on Intel. Very blue chippy. So we probably fade a little bit and bounce because it's been on a nice run. All right, next on the list, American Airlines. American Airlines. AAL. Puked today. All right. American Airlines trading into a resistance of some magnitude. I don't have anything on American Airlines. Man, this is so sideways. Earnings are out. Big, giant, massive bearish candle. My analysis on it is going to be this. Just look to find some type of dip that you like on American Airlines and look to buy that dip. So 31.95, buy low, sell high on American Airlines, a little bit of a pullback. Longer term, a company that will likely go higher, but for right now, I don't see anything special on it as far as just a swing trade. Type in a 1 if you made money on Tesla today. TSLA. Tesla was a phenomenal gap down, and we talked about that in depth yesterday. Made it very clear. My brain and the charts is bearish gap. My previous plans to fade any gap. I will wait at least 7 minutes to trade Tesla. So here's the 3-minute chart. Had to wait 2 of these candles. And here it is right here. So the 3-minute time frame. Tom, even you could have made money playing Tesla today. Look at this 3-minute hammer. Close below the hammer. Boom. Put city. And if you didn't get it then, catch it on the pullback. There's the retest. Boom. Another rollover on Tesla. Here's your 5-minute chart. And I did post a few bullish setups on Tesla today. And all of them would have worked to some degree at some particular point in time. You know, Tesla, this is a tweezer top right here on Tesla. Tweezer top. And it just ended up breaking down, rolling down. And I don't want to go too long today. It's already 5:03 and I got something coming up in just a few moments. But Tesla, I mean, I had a trade on Tesla that didn't fill by a penny. Canceled the trade, and I'm allowed to do that per my plan. And it would have filled, and it would have held all day. I would have got like half an hour. It would have been a small, very, very small win. So I'm actually okay with it. Continuing from here, ladies and gentlemen, I am bullish on Tesla long term, but I'm doing it with volatility sales, you know, selling some premium. So Scott McKay, this covered call is expired worthless for him. Tesla could keep going lower, no question at all. No problem, no questions. Bruno says, any plans to trade futures tonight? Unless I die. Unless I'm dead in the next 5 hours, man. Of course. Why would I not? That's a great gap. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, Tesla can easily go lower from here. If you're trying to pick a bottom, just do it cautiously. Because if we start cracking down or gapping down or breaking any support tomorrow, Tesla could absolutely go to 200 before it bounces. easily. Now, if it gaps up tomorrow, you could get a little bit of a fade higher. That's fine. Most likely we gap down and break. Tomorrow you could make $1 million if you wanted to with the right put option or call option on Tesla if you mitigate your risk appropriately, right? It's a Friday expiration. Google, Amazon, and Tesla gapping on Friday is like my favorite thing in the world. Study hard tonight. My option traders, you better do extremely well tomorrow. So Tesla, we'll see how it moves. If it gaps down, I'll be a little bit more on the bearish side. If it gaps up, cool. I'll be watching for some bulls, and we'll just see what it does. Otherwise, I still am looking to sell a lot of premium on Tesla at some nice low levels. And all of these options are they have decreased pretty much 50% in value. I'm looking to hold maybe a few more weeks before I buy those back. Samuel says, is there any way, I know you're working with a lot of people, but is there any way I can give you a call to get some clarification on getting into trading? Sure. Why not? You say working with a lot of people. I'm not busy, dude. I do this because I love it, man. Let's chat tomorrow. All right, next on the list is YPF. YPF, what do we got here? Interesting. Okay, I think it's the one that Michael wanted to look at. YPF traded into a very nice support at $13. I see exactly what my boy Michael's looking at. He's looking at going long down around these zones, around lower 16, upper 15-ish area. And here's the daily chart. Daily charts looks a little on the weak side. Nice double top up here. Yeah, Michael, if you can look to play that lower 16, upper 15, I like it. Next on the list, Huberto wanted to look at Western Digital. And Western Digital, what everyone's looking at right now is this massive double bottom on a weekly chart. It's there, and I will be massively shocked if that does not play out higher to some degree. One of the best double bottoms I've ever seen in my life on a weekly time frame. The other one was over here, and we all know how that worked out. So it won't play out the exact same, right? It'll probably have some little bit of dips, but if you got some longer term positions on Western Digital, I do think that will eventually go higher, especially if earnings looks good. And we're at some resistance now, granted. You could look at some 65 call sales if you have shares or long enough calls and see if you can get a position up there that makes sense. But otherwise, buy a dip. I'm really excited to see what happens on earnings next week on WDC, and let's crush it and go from there. All right, folks. The reason I have Alibaba on my list, type in a 4. If we got close but didn't fill on our swing trade. We got very close on Alibaba, but I mean, with this exact setup, you would not have filled on Alibaba. Emmanuel has a bull put spread expiring this Friday, and we're going to have to cancel the Baba trade because this was the pullback today. This was it. Beautiful, beautiful pullback. Gorgeous in every way. And I know some option traders and some day traders caught that pullback. Very nice level. It just didn't make it to where I wanted that exact price, so we can cancel our Baba order because I do not think that it will fill, and Baba is donezo. All right. Shoot. Add 2 more. IQ for my boy Ricky. The daily chart on IQ is doing absolutely nothing right now. Absolute zero, nothing. Very, very sideways. And you have to ask the question, what's it going to do from here? Is it going to gap up, gap down? How's it going to break out? I think however it closes past this candle will be your next short-term move on IQ. Close above it, bullish. Close below it, bearish. That's my thoughts on IQ, at least. You do have a little bit of a double top right here. It could be a retest of the neckline. I do have a thought process that IQ could go down into like the 14-ish area. worst case scenario. But on a monthly level, yeah, monthly level, it looks weak. I think IQ goes lower. We will see. We will see. But right now, it's so sideways. I'm going to wait for more information to find out. Comcast, CMCSA, daily chart, grinding higher. Trend looks good. Gapping down a little bit on earnings. So 44.15. It's a very small gap down. James said, if I had an IQ, I would know which way the stock's going to go. Hey-o. Nice. Nice. Comcast, good trend. I mean, blown away. This is one stock that I'll never trade bullish because I don't want them to get any of my money, or any more of my money, I should say. I mean, I get it. I'm blown away that they're doing so well as far as stock price is concerned, but they are. That reoccurring revenue, paying for that internet, I understand. High wave candle, very small gap down, pre-market, post-market, whatever. And if Comcast takes out 44, maybe it goes a little bit lower. I think earnings might have even been today. So really high wave candle. Yep, they did have earnings today. Earnings beat, revenue light as video subscriber loss grows. Peter says, I don't think I've met a happy Comcast customer. I think you're right, man. I think you were correct. So Comcast, nice trend. Samuel, do you have my phone number? How do you plan on calling me tomorrow? You have my number, right? Pretty sure you do. Text me. All right, so Comcast, trend looks good. High wave candle today, a close below, a close above, looks good, and I like it. All right, next on the list, Netflix, NFLX, Netflix. So the analysis on Netflix yesterday was so simple, a caveman could have made money. And I know one caveman who did make money on Netflix today, but this was the most glorious one white soldier candle of all time yesterday. And here's your morning star reversal with your one white soldier. If you didn't make money on bullish on Netflix today, and you were trying to, it was a part of your plan and you were watching it, I mean, oh boy, I don't even know. That would just be terrible. The analysis yesterday was very simple. If we take out the high of today, be bullish. Here's the 5-minute chart on Netflix. And I did have one trader snag a really nice move on Netflix today. Played the retest of the breakout. All right, here's the white candle, big bullish candle, broke out, bought the dip there, stop loss there, crushed it. So good trade on Netflix. And if it's going to continue tomorrow, that's fine. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful candle. It's just getting going. So I don't know. It could easily go higher. Why not? Realistically, up until like 334, 335 would be fine. The analysis I did just yesterday on Netflix is I'll probably do something like this anyway. That was the exact thing that I drew yesterday. And I like Netflix. Long term, I'm a fan. Anyway, I know exactly how they make money. I like the company. Everyone uses their product. I love Netflix long term, but short term, I'd be a little bit more bullish than bearish unless it gaps down strongly tomorrow, which I don't necessarily see happening, but I'd just be looking for a dip buy tomorrow. Okay, that's Netflix. Already looked at Intel, and this is one that's posted on a straddle earlier today. Adam says, how much will Disney Plus affect them? That's what's happening right now. The move presently is the only effect that's going to get, in my opinion. Disney Plus will help Disney more than it will hurt Netflix because Netflix is the king of that domain, in my opinion. I am bullish on Disney. I do have a long position on Disney, and I'm also very bullish on Netflix long term as well. So thumbs up for both. I think it's two totally different industries that they're competing on. Disney just wanted a little bit of that chunk. Can't blame them. So Team, TEAM, posted a straddle on this one on Team. That's Shopify. I'll look at that next. So the straddle is the 134 call input, and we're not gapping at all. Womp, womp, womp. So that's not very good. We'll see how it opens, and hopefully it opens flat. And what I'll end up doing with the 134 call input is obviously I will lose like 85% of that premium at open. I'll sell a 130 put, and I'll sell a 140 call to just decrease the losses of that straddle, and that'll be it. This one just simply didn't gap very much at all on TEAM, which is the exact thing you don't want to happen when you're in a straddle. But it has gapped very nicely in the past. Very strong bullish trend, and I wouldn't be shocked if it gaps and just kind of ran higher tomorrow. So maybe it'll work out. We will see. James said if you sold the straddle on Team would be a 100% winner. Yes, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Wouldn't be 100% because if it's a straddle, it's in the money. So it'd be like a 75, 80% winner. And last but not least, Shopify. Trend is very strong. My buddy Daniel has a put sale, and this was a trade that I posted on Shopify for my earnings and options strategist. It is a 3325 straddle for next week. Buying it for $28.50, and realistically, it needs, Shopify needs to move about 8.5% for this to be a profitable straddle. And when I mean profitable, I mean just literally like any kind of profit at all for it to work. So what's interesting is between now and earnings, with an option next week, this could run up 2% before earnings even gets here. And if it gaps up on earnings nicely, that could be a very profitable one. So we will see. I like Daniel's put sale at $295. The trend is obviously hellaciously bullish on Shopify. I'm very interested to see how this one's going to gap. Folks from around the world, you got 24 hours left. Most of you, I've already mentioned, you want to sign up for live trading anyway. You're just waiting until Friday because, why not? Here is the most current pricing structure for everything. If you want to be a part of this, $199 a month, $794 for 4 months, or go ahead and get the year package and just save, a solid chunk of change. And then if you want to buy any of these products a la carte, you certainly can. And when you buy the products a la carte, you have them forever. I had a lot of traders who didn't either want the products, didn't know what the products were, didn't understand the products, and didn't want to pay for them. So I took them out of the $249 bundle and simply said, hey, if you want any of these, you can buy them a la carte. You can save some money. Murad says, Jeremy, please give me your email address. Jeremy@reallifetrading.com. Bruno says, what's on the Algo trading class? About 8 classes long, teaching you how to use softwares and brokers to build a trading robot that automatically trades for you. Shares, not options. Lita says, if you only want the swing trading room, what is the rate? Well, Lita, you were grandfathered in at a legacy price that very, very few people will have. So you will get the price that you had from like 3.5, 4 years ago. So you're good to go. If anybody else wants just the afternoon room, I believe it's $139 a month, and I do have that link available. So if you want just the afternoon room, simply let me know. Email me at this email address. And Lita, you're welcome to do the exact same thing. But you, my dear, are a legacy trader, day one, real life trading. So if you want to join back in, you have access to that rate for all time. Any other last minute questions before we part ways? There's only 1 day left of this. And I would love for as many of you as possible to sign up, enrich lives together, help other people learn about the markets, grow their net worth, understand the financials, and just be in a better spot, both mentally and financially. Anshul says, could you please post your phone number? Sure, Anshul, why not? 352-246-4596. That was my phone number. Peter says, thank you so much. Lita says, thanks, that made my day. I love it. OJ says, thank you. Enrich more lives. I will do, sir. Samuel says, 3 days before the sale ends. That is correct. And then these prices will be gone for a very long time. Robin says, thank you, Jeremy. You're welcome, Robin. Christopher says, thanks, Jeremy. Time for a beet and egg smoothie. Don't do that, man. It's not good. It is not good. But apparently I should do it all the time because I absolutely dominated it today. So we'll see. Tonight I will have a milkshake because I traded profitably and I love milkshakes. That's like my #3 favorite thing on this planet. And I'm a smash a delicious milkshake tonight. And if I trade terribly tomorrow, I'll just drink beet and egg smoothie for every single day if I can do what I did today. All right, boys and girls, I'm Audi 5000. You rock, and until next time, love life, live life, and trade it. I'll see you later. Bye.